GF went somewhere I've been asking her to go with other people. Pretty self-explanatory. Basically I've been asking my girlfriend to go to Top Golf with me for over a month now. Every time I ask she says she doesn't feel like going and either wants to stay home or do something else, which I'm fine with. However, today she went with two of her friends, a guy and a girl, and didn't even think to ask me. Also, I play golf and she doesn't, so I could see why she wouldn't want to go in the past, but you'd think she'd at least ask me today. Am I overreacting? Should I be mad about this? I know it's something stupid, but just the fact that she went without even thinking to ask me kind of irritated me. Too long did not read. Girlfriend went somewhere with other people that I've been asking her to go to for a while. Am I overreacting? A few years ago, Guinness opened a brewery where I live, Baltimore. I had been to the one in Dublin and it was really fun, so I told the guy the first was dating at the time that I really wanted to go and we should go together. A month or so later, he went with his work friends and didn't think to tell me. So then I asked if he could again, but together this time. His response: "But I already went, why would I go back?" I was furious. You're not overreacting. She was inconsiderate of your feelings. She possibly does not want to go with you because she is afraid she'll screw up or somehow embarrass herself in front of you, whereas there is not that pressure with her friends. Maybe she feels like she can learn some from him first since you golf and are, presumably, good at it. I'd find this pretty irritating, so you should just tell her how it made you feel. You've asked her to do this together, and after being turned down a few times, it's a bit of a slap to know she went with other people. Talk to her and just focus on how that comes across. How are things otherwise? Is this a one-time thing that's happened where you've asked her to do something and she's firmly said no to that specific thing? Does she often not want to try your things? If she's otherwise a loving and supportive partner, talk to her about it. If this is not a new thing, I think it's time for a good hard look at your relationship. You have the right to have the feelings you do. Please sit her down and talk to her in a non-accusatory way and explain your thoughts. This is minor, but if this is part of a series of situations that don't take your feelings into account, it might mean incompatibility in your relationship. I hate people jumping to break up all at once, but if it's a regular occurrence it might be true. I've been in relationships where one partner is not emotional. I'm stuck in one now. Don't be me and get stuck after an injury. Find someone who takes your feelings into account. It sounds like your feelings are hurt. You should talk to her, and let her know how you feel. Did she say why she didn't invite you today? No, that's pretty screwed up. You're not overreacting. This just seems wildly inconsiderate. I would be upset too. You aren't overreacting. My fiancé did this to me once. I asked him if he wanted to go out and do something several times. He said no, then saw a new movie with friends and their girlfriends without me. Our situation was different though. His mom had recently passed and he was all over the place. Doesn't mean it didn't sting a little. I would talk to her about it and at least ask why she didn't ask you to go. Same thing happens to me in the past, asking my girlfriend to watch some Disney movie and she said she's not interested. Some weeks later she watched a movie with her friends and guess what she watched? Things happen. You end up places you don't even want to be. Don't take it to heart, but let her know how you feel. Rather than dwell on this negatively, I would try to use this experience to get her to go with you, assuming she enjoyed it. Remember when you had a lot of fun golfing with A and B? Want to come with me on X date? Hope you do an update. I'd be upset too. Tell her it kinda bothered you. But if you make a big deal out of it, it may be an overreaction. Just tell her you've been wanting to go and you wish she thought to ask. Other than that, I'd drop it. Hard to tell if you're overreacting. I think it's reasonable to be upset, but don't get that upset over it. My advice would be to use it as an opportunity to work on communicating your feelings to her from a rational perspective once you cool down. Tell her that it made you upset that you weren't invited and see how she reacts or what her response is. This is your girlfriend saying, "You are not entertaining enough to incentivize me to go with you alone. This would be really annoying for me." Put it this way, man. Would you consider your partner to do something fun with you? Then to one-up the situation, would you consider your partner to do something fun with you that she's been requesting for a while already? I personally would feel like I'm not even someone she feels is worthy to consider. But confront her. If she dismisses you or your feelings or doesn't have a genuine reason, then this is an aspect of her character you have to decide if you're willing to settle for. I wouldn't easy resentment point. If they wanted to, they would. It seems like rejection, which probably feels bad. I don't know you well enough to know for sure, But if I had to guess, she doesn't want to go with you because you know what you are doing and she doesn't want to be embarrassed when it becomes obvious she doesn't. That's just a guess, but before you let it nest in your head, talk to her. But talk to her with the understanding that there may be a reason, maybe not a good reason to you, that she doesn't want to go with you. That's just my opinion, I could be wrong. I'd be pissed and hurt. She was not being considerate. In fact, her level of detachment in this situation is kind of odd. How could she not even think to ask you? I'm sorry, man. If somebody's partner has legitimate reason to go to X place without their loved one and with other people instead, that partner should be the one to openly and clearly communicate their reasoning, well before you have to ask questions or are made to feel like shit. Clearly she lacks this basic level of respect and thoughtfulness towards you. When I find a place I want to check out or an activity I want to do, the first person I think of is my husband because I like hanging out with him over everyone else. That's how it should be, your partner should be your favorite person. Doesn't sound like you are her favorite person. If this is a one-off, okay, it has happened before with my husband and I, but if it's a pattern she is showing you something and it's smart to listen. One-off, or pattern. Just over 2 months ago you went no contact with an ex you still had feelings for. Then, a month ago there is the post about the TV. Is this the same girl? If it's a different one, that seems quick. If you haven't got your feelings sorted out, you won't be able to see if that thing you described in this post is insignificant, or if it's a larger pattern of ignoring you. Girlfriend is looking for other action. Not with you. GF went somewhere with other people that I've been asking her to go to for a while. Am I overreacting? I'd be pissed. You're not overreacting at all, Imo. Are you gonna talk to her about it? That doesn't sound to me like she's into you. I'd break up with her. Take the hint, bro, she doesn't want to spend time with you, nor does she respect your feelings. This exact same thing happened to me with Top Golf. We don't have one in my city. My significant other was traveling for work and went without me. I talked about going for a year, and he promised we would go together. Anyway, I was pissed. I'm over it now, but I still bring it up once in a while, in a joking way. I recommend you talk to her and let her know how that made you feel. Maybe she just ended up there. Ouch, that does feel like rejection. I'd be upset by this too, it feels like a rejection. That's not to say this was her intention, but your feelings are valid here. Sorry op, that really sucks. I'd be upset too. Please post an update once you've talked to her, pleading face, hope the conversation goes well. You are valid. I would be fucking upset too. That shit would make me feel less than. My ex would do this as well. If it was anyone else's idea, or his own, he would be all for it. But I'd have to twist his arm to do anything with me and I never understood why, because it was fun stuff. Anyway, we're divorced now, rolling on the floor laughing. I understand why you're upset. Anyone would be. Since you mention it's Top Golf and she doesn't play golf but you do, I'm wondering if that's exactly the reason though. Do you get really excited about golf and try to teach her and correct her stance and insist on all the rules being followed? And maybe she just wanted to chill and have a drink. It would hurt my feelings if my partner did this to me, so no, I don't believe you are overreacting. I would try to have a conversation about it with her and tell her how you feel. She may not realize how her actions affected you. Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed too. How long have you been together? Have you told her how you feel? Did she give a plausible reason as to why you weren't invited? And with the guy and the girl a couple? I wouldn't personally be upset by that because I'd figure that she thought the experience would be different with her friends than with me somehow, but I can see 99% of people being rubbed the wrong way by that action. I think it's a valid reaction. Maybe she's just not that into you. She agreed and went with her friends because she thought it would be fun. Maybe she couldn't imagine having fun at this place with you. Maybe. Either way, you're not crazy for feeling a little disappointed. I think it's fine to be irritated about it. I know I would. The key thing is how you each handle it. You absolutely need to have a talk with her about it, and find out why she went without you when she knew you'd be interested. Don't send her a bunch of angry texts, just calmly talk about it in person when you see her next. That conversation should tell you a lot. The only legit reason she may have, although someone more mature would be able to state this more clearly, is that she is intimidated, put off by the idea of doing something with you that she barely has as a hobby nad you do very competitively. Imagine you were a terrible tone-deaf singer and your partner was quite good. And they wanted to sing a duet with you in front of other people. You may not feel comfortable doing that and might, if you weren't brave and articulate, just dodge the question rather than address it. That may be what's going on here. And let's hope it is, because it is the only acceptable response. And #X200B. Otherwise, she's just being shitty and doesn't like you. Why assume? Call her, speak to her directly, ask her the reason why she did that. Red flag, location flag seen. Stay cool and find out the real reason. These are the little things that made me start looking closely at her behavior towards me. Whether it's limerence, infatuation, or love, actions speak louder than words. Always talk about it. If there's a dismissive attitude and disregard for how you're feeling, it's time to start moving on. Start hitting the buddies up, get occupied, look and act busy. You're going to need all of that once you break up with her. I personally heart golf and bowling, to be honest, and would totally veto it as a date idea in the interest of doing literally anything else, but if I had a group of friends want to go, I'd probably go and suck it up in the interest of hanging out with a group. So I kinda see where she's coming from, but it would also hurt my feelings if I were in your position. Like, she could have at least invited you to the thing she knows you've been wanting to do. I have a question for everyone out there. Okay, so of course he should stick it out and talk to his girlfriend about this. But if this was your friend who you asked to go to Top Golf with that night, and they went with some other friends, would you drop them like hot cakes, or would you go through the emotional labor to talk to them? What if they were your classmate friend? Maybe you don't want conflict and to Havre to see them every day at work or school. Just drop them. I guess without knowing your ages or how long you've been together or literally anything else about you two, she knows you're an experienced player, and she isn't. She doesn't want to completely embarrass herself in front of you. Do not try to force your loved ones into being a part of your hobby. It's too much pressure to deal with, and it's really just not fun dealing with someone that could possibly turn what is supposed to be something fun into a lesson in how to do said hobby. She probably should have communicated this, if she feels the same way as I stated, but if she's never shown interest in being a part of your hobbies in the past, it's bad relationship etiquette to keep pressing them into joining in on your hobbies. She was probably okay with going with friends because the pressure of being good at it was not there, as none of them probably are golfers. Sometimes shit happens. She didn't get around to it with you, but then there was a sudden opportunity or social pressure and she just went along with it. Your feelings are valid, but she didn't necessarily mean it the way you feel it. Dude, flip your shit. It's completely disrespectful. Say nothing and you are a carpet. Say something and you are calling her out for an explanation. She knew you wanted to go there with her and she kept on saying no. As soon as somebody else asks the same thing, she goes with them. If she has any personal stuff she has an issue with about you, you need to find out ASAP, because that's the first crack in a relationship.